So when it comes to customizing Revit for your workflow, Revit is actually very user-friendly when it comes to reorganizing your tools. So up here, we talked in previous videos about this being a ribbon, and we have our tabs up here. So if I go into my structure tab, these panels, right, structure panel, connection panel, foundation panel, the Revit out of the box user setup is tailored towards a desired workflow, all right? But as you use Revit a lot, you'll understand that that all depends on how you work. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's how you want it organized. To reorganize these panels, all you have to do is click on the title and literally just drag it out of the ribbon and place it anywhere that you'd like. So on that side, it's very, very simple and easy to use, okay? Up here at the top of my Revit user interface, that is called a quick access toolbar. The point of this toolbar is to add tools that you use a lot so that it's there for quick access. However, when you begin to add tools up here, they sometimes won't populate all the way through, because as you add a lot of tools, Revit needs a place to group them. So for example, if I use the column tool a lot and I want to add it to that toolbar, I right click here and I hit add to quick access toolbar. You can see that it added it up there. If I want to add a structural wall there, right click on the tool, right here, sorry, add to quick access toolbar. You see I've added two tools to the toolbar, and now I can't see them. They are populated with this like forward. So now let's just move this tool down, this toolbar down to below the ribbon, and now you see all of those tools that you've added there. Okay. To remove them from the quick access toolbar, you just hover over, right click, and hit remove from quick access toolbar. Okay. Now let me put this back up to the top of my Revit user interface, and now we can talk a little bit about these palettes here on the left. Revit has a properties palette and a project browser palette. I have both of them populated on the left so that my camera doesn't interfere. But this, you can move each one of these palettes anywhere you want to a docking area, and it will remember, as in Revit will remember. To do that, you see where my cursor is, right? I'm going to grab my cursor, click and drag, right? Now over here on the right, Revit will dock my window based on where my cursor is, not on where the edges of my palette are. You see that I'm trying to dock it on the right, but it won't dock. I have to pull my cursor all the way to the right until it'll actually dock. There you go. Alright, so I'm going to move it back over so that my camera doesn't interfere. Come on. And you may have to finagle a little bit. There we go. Now to move or to split the project browser from the properties so they're just not stacked on top of each other, you can now on these tabs, right, just drag here, drag on the tab, and now you got two palettes that you can dock, one on the right and one on the left. And Revit will remember the width of these palettes and the location of these palettes when you close the program and reopen it. Same thing with the organization of your panels at the top. Okay, so let me just put this one back here, right on top of where it was before. Now let's talk a little bit about the File menu. On the top left hand corner under File, Options. Any changes you make here are also Revit remembers these settings here. Okay, so under the User Interface tab, you see all of these check boxes here. When we're learning Revit, it's not very rare, but it's not common that someone uses each one of these tabs to their full extent. So as if you're taking, these videos and you're watching these videos, you know that my background is in the structural side. So I very rarely use architectural tools, aside from maybe some doors and windows. I very rarely use architectural tools or HVAC and mechanical tools or electrical tools. So I'm going to simplify my user interface to tailor towards the tools that I use the most. So I'm going to remove Architecture tab, Systems for mechanical, electrical, and piping. If I keep going down, I will hide the massing and site, energy, and route. So you can see that I'm going to clean up my tabs back there quite a bit. All right. And let me hit OK. You can see it condensed quite a bit. Now I'm just dealing with structural tools. Let's go back into the File tab and into my Options menu. Back to User Interface. And now this is where you can tell Revit how you want it to behave. Remember, I keep pushing that Revit is communicating with you. Well, this is how you tell Revit how you want to communicate. So this right here, ribbon tab switching behavior. How you want these tabs to highlight and behave once you select and deselect elements. Feel free to play with those to your preference. Me personally, I like changing the active theme to dark. I like this dark back here. Now onto the graphics. I come from the AutoCAD world of 15, 16 years ago where you had a black background, right? And that's how I learned when I got into this field. So I prefer a black background. So as you see the next videos in the entire series, it'll be based on a black background. The reason is because I like colors. This black and white, primarily white, it gives me headaches, so also feel free to tailor these colors based on your preference. It doesn't have to be a company standard. This can vary from computer to computer. So I'm going to change this to a black background, which I could change to any color. And on selection, this is the color that I want my element to highlight, right, to turn into. I like red. And then the pre-selection, this is the outline color when your cursor, when it hovers over an element, Revit will highlight that element. That's a pre-selection. So I like a magenta color. It really pops with the black background. So I'm going to hit OK on that one. And I can just leave the alert and the calculating and rebar editing for later. And let's hit OK. All right. We're starting to look like something. We're starting to set up our user interface to work for you. Now let's talk a little bit about keyboard shortcuts. We went in depth about the quick access toolbar at the top left-hand corner. We spoke about rearranging your panels within your ribbon. As you become more and more fluent with Revit, none of that matters, because you will be typing in keyboard shortcuts. Now there's two ways to access your keyboard shortcuts. If you're working with a Revit out-of-the-box program, on your keyboard, if you type in KS, it will pop up. Another way to access that is going back into our File menu at the top left, going to your Options, and under the User Interface tab, you have an option here for keyboard shortcuts. And this is where the same dialog box will pop up and you will be able to assign a keyboard shortcut. The beauty of keyboard shortcuts is that it allows you to access this tool much faster. It's way more efficient, and there's much less searching around. Okay, so in the beginning, feel free to modify your panels in the back. Like over here in the back. Of course, feel free to modify those panels because that is the best way to learn, to know where these tools live. But as you become more fluent, you'll find yourself wanting to be more efficient, naturally quicker, and you'll be typing in a lot of these keyboard shortcuts. To assign a keyboard shortcut, if I look at column, already has a keyboard shortcut assigned, because you see the title where it says structural column and CL is in parentheses. That means it's a keyboard shortcut. But to assign one, if I type in KS to open up my dialog box, and let's say that I want to assign a keyboard shortcut for family types. All you do is click on the title, the whole row highlights, and under press new keys, try to stick to two keys that best describe what you're trying to access. So family types, what if you do FT and I hit assign? It's okay, Revit accepts it. It places it into this this column, right? And it assigns it, and I'll do is hit OK. And now the next time you type in FT, family types will pop up. All right. So feel free, do not be afraid to modify your keyboard shortcuts. You can always come back and set them back to a default if you're worried for whatever reason. But you don't have to be afraid at all of just tailoring Revit to work for you. Okay, I push you, I challenge you to use keyboard shortcuts as much as you can. In the next video series, there will be options to download files, so you'll be able to download a sample of the keyboard shortcuts that I use. But that is by no means a law. You change them as you see fit, adding your own acronyms and keyboard shortcuts that work best for you.